Hollywood not only doesn't respect you, they don't like you. And here's why they don't like you. They don't like you because you now have a platform to make things that are more, if not just as entertaining, if not more entertaining than what it is that they're producing. For nearly a fraction of the budget. Almost budgetless in some cases. People will listen to YouTube videos, to TikToks, to Instagram videos, to whatever they can. Short form, long form, the variety is all over the place. They can do quadruple what Hollywood does in a year, content creators can do in a year. Very easily. And at first Hollywood was like, we don't care about those YouTubers, we've still got the views, our late night shows are doing good, and our TV, scripted television is good, and our movies are good. Then they started losing people. Then they started paying attention to Netflix, because they were losing people in two places. They were losing people to streaming, and they were losing people to social media, like Hollywood, or they were losing people to YouTube and TikTok, and, well, TikTok later on, of course, but in the early days, YouTube and other video platforms, Twitch with live streaming. Live streaming was a big kick in the pants to Hollywood. They completely ignored it. They pridefully ignored it. They stuck their noses up at it. They said, this whole streaming and content creation thing, that's nothing compared to what we're doing. Because they have egos. They've always had egos. Whether they've made good or bad content, it's always about ego. It's all ego-fueled. They think they're the cream of the crop because they've made it to Hollywood. Well, newsflash, they're not. Especially not anymore. The level of junk coming out of Hollywood far supersedes the couple of successes that they get a year. Most of their stuff is garbage. And even the stuff that is successful is usually highly controversial. It usually divides audiences. Barbie divided audiences. And, Super Mario, a little bit less so. The Super Mario Brothers movie. That one I was happy for as a fan of Nintendo. But regardless, Hollywood is no longer top dog. And what's driving them further away is that now they're engaging in identity politics where they're choosing diversity, equity, inclusion, wokeness, or cultural Marxism. The idea that everything is systemically oppressive by design, and we need to tear down those systems of oppression, and we need to elevate minorities, or at least our selected minorities. We need to elevate them up, and we need to use them as a platform, and we need their voices to be heard, because their voices were always silent, apparently. Apparently, if you were gay, a woman, or black, or Asian, or Hispanic, you didn't have a voice in the entertainment industry. At least within the past 15, 20 years. Which is blatantly untrue. Now, if you go further back in time, yeah, you might be able to make that as a solid argument. But that stuff started to turn around by the 80s at least. The earliest would have been the mid to late 1960s. So it has been a long time that multiple people have had their voice. And also, it doesn't matter what you identify as, your voice has to produce something of value that's entertaining to people. If you're not doing that, then it doesn't matter how diverse you are. And this is Hollywood's fundamental misunderstanding of audiences and their contempt for audiences. They think that all you care about is who a person looks like on screen, and that certain voices are represented on screen. You don't. You absolutely don't. I know the majority of audiences just want a good story. They don't care if the lead is a male or a female, so long as it's a good story, or if they're black or white or Asian or Hispanic. They don't care. Because over the years, we've gotten as much diverse media as possible. Some of it is really, really good. Some of it is bad. But what makes it good are good characters, good writings, good setting, and a believable plot. Something that Hollywood no longer knows how to do in the majority. There's only a handful of people left in Hollywood who are actually concerned about these things. But they hate you. They hate you. They hate the fact that you can turn on your computer and make a video like this. They hate that you can criticize them openly. They hate that you have the ability to create pretty much whatever you want within reason. You want to make a comic book? Find an artist, write it out, crowdfund it. There you go. That's it. Comic books are seeing success, as opposed to the mainstream comic book industry, which is very closely tied to Hollywood, that is churning out identity garbage. New Green Lantern comes around and nobody cares, but the creator has to beg people to go see it to own the trolls. Or to go read it to own the trolls, rather, not go see it. It's not a movie. Hope they never make that new Alan Scott Green Lantern into a movie. Good night. But regardless, they hate you. They hate the fact that you can make what you want, you can watch what you want, you can see what you want. So their solution to that was streaming. And it's not working out very well because their pricing models aren't good. The apps themselves are getting worse and worse in terms of functionality. There's not as much content as people would like. And then if there is something new that people like, if it doesn't do well, it just gets yanked off the service. So it's more temporary than ever before. People would rather go back to linear television. I've heard people go back to satellite, to cable, to internet television. I've heard people go to just fast TV services, which are quickly growing. That's the only thing Hollywood has, is these fast TV services. That's all they've got. And what I mean is services like Pluto TV, Tubi, Xumo Play, Freevee, all these free television apps that have entire shows as channels and entire genres as channels for free that are ad supported. They're loaded with ads. They're loaded to the brim with ads, but they're more tolerable. You can just mute the ads, and I mean, it is what it is. You just deal with it like we did with linear cable and satellite and antenna TV. And people still have antenna TV. Combination of fast TV and antenna TV, or if you get an antenna and you get Sling and you're paying half of what you would for cable. There's more options out there. Streaming isn't working out the way they had hoped, and Disney is suffering the brunt of this the most. Disney Plus is bleeding subscribers. It's not doing well. They're going to fold Hulu into it redundantly, as opposed to folding Disney Plus into Hulu, which would make a lot more sense, and having it be called Hulu because that's their more profitable and popular platform. No, they're going to take the platform that people don't want because it's associated with the Disney name and start folding Hulu content into that, which is ridiculous. Why would you do that? That's a horrible business decision. I hope they change that. Disney doesn't have a free ad-supported TV service. Imagine how much money they could make up if you could get access to classic shows and movies on a fast TV service from Disney, but they don't have one. Hollywood doesn't know what it's doing, and in the midst of that, they're in the midst of all of these strikes. So, they hate you, they have contempt for you, but yet they will beg you for money. Almost needlessly, because they spend so much time being concerned about investor capital and about pleasing the DEI people that you suddenly don't matter. And so the consumer is responding reasonably and going, okay, well, we don't matter. We'll walk away. We'll just go away. We won't bother spending our time and money with creators that have contempt for us. That's what they do. That's what they do. And it's absolutely ridiculous. You know, a lot of people want content that they can trust for their kids. That's not trying to teach them anything outside of being a good moral human being. They're not trying to teach people to segregate based on race and identity and whatever. They're just trying to teach people, here's what it means to be nice, here's what it means to be bad, so on and so forth. They're just trying to teach kids those basic values. That's what we grew up with. And then we learned from there from our parents. But that's becoming a rarity more and more these days, unfortunately. And it is truly sad. Hollywood has open contempt for you and your children and your family members. You're nothing more but keeping their pet projects funded. They don't actually want to make things for you. Oh no, heaven forbid. They don't want to make anything for you. They want to make things for themselves in the hopes that maybe you'll find some entertainment value out of it. Maybe you'll be bored enough and desperate enough for entertainment that you'll actually get in your car and go to the theaters or subscribe to a streaming service. The only time their streaming services see increases like what Paramount did with the whole South Park special. But I guarantee you after that's over, people are going to cancel. If they did a free trial, they're going to cancel. So they'll see a spike in free trials, a spike in initial subscriptions, but it'll all go away. And they'll go, I don't understand. Why do people leave? Because there's not enough there. Yes, there's all the old Nickelodeon content and some of the old CBS content, but they've also got Pluto TV, which is free. And it's got a healthy amount of channels and on-demand content. So their free alternative is better than their paid service. Way to go, Paramount. I think the answer is obvious. And you notice on Pluto TV, they keep trying to push Paramount Plus. They keep having ads for it and all these bundle-in deals. They're desperate to get people to sign up. It's not a good service, folks. I did the free trial. It's not a good service. I was going to do a standalone review of it, but I've decided not to. It's not worth it. It's not good. I don't like it. I've used Disney Plus. That's horrible. I haven't used Max, don't want to try it. I've wanted to try Hulu to see if it actually is any good, but I've seen nothing but bad reviews about its functionality. These companies don't know what they're doing. They're better off going to third-party streamers and putting their content there like they were with Netflix, and that's what they're starting to do. Amazon is acquiring truckloads of content from these companies, from Warner Brothers specifically. They've got, I can watch Ed, Edd n Eddy and Dexter's Laboratory on Prime Video, and it's great. Unfortunately, they're going to add ads in the future, which just ruins the entire experience. I mean, if you got a paid premium experience, I shouldn't have ads, period. Unless I select something free with ads from the freebie side of things, I shouldn't have advertisement. There's no reason to do that. You're just making the experience worse for the customer, and the customer to not want to pay for it. Obviously, I'm going to pay for Prime because you save money with Prime, and everybody's looking to save money. But I mean, this is ridiculous. It's the only streaming service I have by default because I have Prime. And it's got probably the most eyes on it next to maybe Netflix. And they've got all sorts of original content, some that's real crap, and then others that's not bad. But regardless, they're doing things right. They're doing things right for the most part, except for the some of their programming choices and the ad things. But they're actually acquiring popular programming that people like from the past, which is the smartest move they can make. Disney isn't doing anything. Disney's just saying, subscribe to Disney Plus, please, I beg you. Go to the parks, please, I beg you. Go see our movies, please, I beg you. Even though we know that they have an open pro-DEI stance, and that they've been pushing that, and they fired their chief diversity officer only to rehire another one, as opposed to folding the freaking department like they should. And just saying, you know what, we are going to hire whoever is best for the job, and we're going to make entertainment that has no barriers, that everybody can enjoy. It has no barriers. Anybody is welcome to watch, as they always have been before. Because now what they're doing is they're effectively gatekeeping certain people out of their entertainment by making it so diverse and equitable and focusing a spotlight on certain groups of people. You're excluding other people, and they're too thick to understand that. They're too dumb to understand that. And yet they keep losing money. So they're all sitting around the boardroom table yelling. Bob Iger's got his hand on his head, and he's trying to work this out. Probably wishes he had stayed retired. Thought he was going to come back to thunderous applause, and he probably did. The second he walked in, he probably got the thunderous applause, and then it all went downhill. And then the South Park special absolutely eviscerated them. Look, I don't like South Park. I've tried to watch it. I've tried to see what people get out of it. I appreciate what they have done over the years when they do take pot shots at popular culture, but I don't think it's the funniest thing in the world like so many people have said. But that special absolutely did damage to Disney. There's no denying that, even though they copped out at the end with the whole, both sides thing, which they always do. That's South Park. I'm not offended by that. I don't think anybody is offended by that, because that's what they do. But they still spent the majority of the special mocking Disney's process, mocking Disney's leadership. That was a sacred cow. It used to be YouTubers would mock the leadership because people would leak out the inside baseball, and we would say, so that's what's causing all of these problems. People would leak out the source of these problems, then they would try to gaslight people once the information was out there, saying, no, that's not what's happening. And then they got all their bots and defenders to go, no, everything is fine. Well, it's not fine. The ship is sinking. People are done with Disney. Disney is no longer in line with the vision of Walt and Roy Disney of a family-oriented entertainment company that doesn't seek to be overtly political. But Koopa, what about World War II when Disney did propaganda? His arm was twisted. His arm was twisted by the government, as were many. It was wildly unconstitutional, but his arm was twisted, so he had to make propaganda, and he did. And if you're going to make propaganda, Disney's going to make you some pretty good propaganda. But still, he was trying to be apolitical. When Walt's animators were concerned that there was a communist infiltration going on within Hollywood and within the Disney studios, he didn't want to testify before Congress because he didn't want to be political, but he did. He said, my animators are really concerned about this, and it's starting to concern me, so therefore I need to go and testify about what I think is communist. And they tried to smear him. I watched a documentary years ago that tried to smear him and say he ruined so many animators' lives. No, he didn't. It's bullcrap. But regardless, they don't care about Walt anymore, or Roy, or any of the Disney family. The Disney's daughters, who have said things that I disagree with, but they were on the money when they said they don't care anymore. They don't care about what Dad did. Dad means nothing to them. They just use his name and some of his properties, and they don't even know how to utilize the properties right. Disney is the worst, but don't think for a second that Paramount, Universal, Sony, MGM under Amazon, that any of these major Hollywood studios, Warner Brothers, which celebrated 100 years alongside Disney, don't think for a split second that they've given up this DEI ghost or their hatred and contempt of you, the internet consumer. They're bitter towards you. They're just now starting to try to marry to internet culture, and it's not working. They're several years too late. They dragged their feet because they had a bunch of yes men telling them, don't you worry about this internet thing. We'll overcome it. We just keep doing what we've been doing for years. We'll get them back. It's just a fad. They couldn't have been more wrong. Silicon Valley took over the world. And instead of going along with it, which is what they're trying to do now, they ignored it and continued to do their own thing. That's why they have contempt for you, because you found success outside of them. It's like the music industry, or the games industry, or the comics industry. When somebody goes independent and finds success because they know what their audience wants, and they're listening to their audiences, and they're considering what their audience want alongside their own vision, and so they're able to create something that people want. When that happens, these industries all collectively get butthurt and angry, because they're doing the opposite and they're not finding success, but yet they're spending millions of dollars to produce top-tier stuff with licensed characters and stories. They have contempt for you. And they will have contempt for you and jealousy towards you. But they'll try to ingratiate themselves. They'll try to pander to you. They'll try to pander to your specific identity, to things that they think you care about, when in reality all you care about is good entertainment. As a black man, I've said this dozens of times, I'll keep saying this. I don't care about the character, the color, the race, the gender of characters. That stuff doesn't even need to be talked about. You just need to give me a good character, a good setting, good lore that I can get into, and a reason to spend money. Hollywood doesn't know how to do this anymore. They're too wrapped up in themselves, and their creators aren't very good. They're young people who have an axe to grind with society, and they want to wear their emotions on their sleeve. Whereas people aren't coming to them for their own emotions being worn on their sleeve. They're coming to them for good entertainment. Hollywood has contempt for you. Hollywood hates you. That's the whole point of this series, is to point out that Hollywood and the entertainment industry, specifically Hollywood, hates you. I could talk about the gaming industry all day because I know far more about that, and the comic book industry and the music industry. Just recently with the music industry, because Taylor Swift found success going independent and reproducing her own songs, they're trying to close that loophole now. So they're getting scared. The music industry is one of the most outdated industries in all of entertainment. And instead of modernizing, they're trying to close the gates. They're trying to make it so that people can't be independent. And don't think for a second that Hollywood isn't going to follow in their footsteps. Same with comic books, same with gaming. They're going to try to find legal avenues to pursue people who are creating their own things. Well, we find too many similarities to our property, so we're going to run you through court and waste the court's time, but financially ruin you trying to fight it. That's going to be their next play, I promise you that. Because again, they hate you. They hate everything you stand for, even if you're on their side. If you go independent, they hate you. They want you under their boot, or under their heel, or under whatever shoes they wear. They don't like you. They don't like you at all. So stop giving them money. If you're tired of wokeness, if you're tired of the current trajectory of the entertainment industry of Hollywood, then don't justify giving them money. Don't do it. I don't care what sort of nostalgia they wave in your face. Every time you see a reboot of something, go with the assumption that it's going to be modernized, or quote, for modern audiences, and run in the exact opposite direction. I don't care how bad of a fan you are of something. I don't care. Don't give it an opportunity. Wait for it to come out, see what people are saying. Wait to see if it has elements of things that you don't like. Don't just rush into it because my childhood, or what I grew up with. That's what they're counting on, people. They are counting on that. So many people were duped by the Spider-Man 2 game for this very reason. They were counting on people who liked the last game and who liked Spider-Man, but people who understand the character of Spider-Man and understand that you've got people with an axe to grind against all their political opponents, that they're the ones writing these games and influencing these games. That's when you go, no, I'm going to walk away, because they're not going to tell me a story that's in line with what I grew up with. They don't care about me. They don't like me. So stop giving them money. Have self-control. People say, but there's nothing else. Wrong. There's decades worth of old media. There's independent media all the time being produced. Not on as grand a scale as Hollywood or some of these other entertainment conglomerates. But if you see something you like, support it. Independent comics, independent games, independent music, independent television and movies. It's all being produced, and it's all causing the mainstream entertainment industry to panic. Just keep that in mind. They're afraid of you, and they hate you. Thank you very much for watching. This has been Super Koopa TV. Remember, Hollywood doesn't respect you. God bless. Have a good one. Peace.